The buzzer beaters, the crowd, the Cinderellas. College basketball is a beautiful game filled with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The start of every season brings a fresh start for every team and every player. A chance for teams to fold under the burden of their expectations. A chance for teams to receive redemption for a previous season that was cut shorter than they had hoped. And of course, chance for teams and players expected to do nothing to shock the world. This channel will be dedicated to discussing and analyzing all that goes on in the college basketball world. Welcome to the CBB Report. There is a lot of time until the beginning of the college basketball season on November 8th. That said, with the transfer portal winding down and declaring for the draft over, rosters and schedules are starting to take shape. With that, let's go through each conference and rank the teams. Today, let's do our two early 2022-2023 rankings for probably the toughest college basketball conference, the Big Ten. While I love ranking teams, I do not think it's sufficient enough to provide the full picture. Teams ranked 7 or 8 can be almost interchangeable, and the difference might be marginal. That's why I created a tier list system as well as a ranking system for the Big Ten of 5 tiers, going from 5th, the lowest tier, to the 1st, the highest tier. Tier 5 was Feeding Frenzy, the lowest. Today, let's talk about Tier 4, Potential. Alright, we've made it out of the cellar. Tier 4 will focus on teams that have many flaws, but have a small potential to do something special. If you're looking for upsets, these 3 teams will be the ones providing the most upsets this season. But they won't provide consistent enough play to get out of Tier 4. I shuffled around these 3 teams multiple times, and the margins that separate them are razor thin. But finally, I decided the 12th best team in the Big Ten and the worst team in Tier 4 is Minnesota. Many Minnesota fans are going to be outraged by this low ranking. Yes, they finished second to last year in the Big Ten with a 4-16 record, but Jamison Battle came back and they crushed the transfer market by getting Dawson Garcia. This, of course, is all true, and out of the 3 teams I will name in Tier 4, they have the best 1-2 punch in Battle and Garcia. Their 1-2 punch might even rival some of the team's 1-2 punches in Tier 3. Jamison Battle is already a proven scorer who can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor and can get boards. He averaged 17.5 points per game and 6.3 rebounds per game last year. Dawson Garcia didn't get the playing time he thought he would at UNC, but he was still efficient when he played, shooting 37.5% from 3 and getting 5.5 boards in 20 minutes played per game. And his advanced numbers all look solid. He's a highly rated transfer and should take a huge step up this year. So you have a small forward and power forward who can get boards, score, and stretch the floor. That is great. The issue is, the reason they're number 12 is that is all Minnesota has. Dawson Garcia is going to replace the loss of Eric Curry and will likely be better than Curry. But who is going to replace Peyton Willis in the backcourt? The frontcourt depth also took a major hit when Parker Fox, who might have been fighting for a starting spot, injured his knee and had to have season-ending knee surgery. Last year, he missed his whole year due to his left knee, and now he'll miss the whole season due to his right knee injury. Taylon Cooper, the transfer from Morehead State, I project to start a point guard, but his 9 points on 40% from the field is not inspiring, even if he is a good passer, averaging 6 assists a game. At 6'4" and with a 96.7 defensive rating, he is valuable on the defensive end, but I worry if he can make the jump to Big Ten competition. With Parker Fox going down, high 3-star recruit Farrell Payne should be the 3rd forward and can even start. Dartmouth transfer Taurus Samuel can be an okay veteran off the bench or in a starting spot. The rest of their bench will most likely be made up of Jaden Henley, Josh Ola Joseph, and Braden Carrington, all 3-star recruits that Coach Johnson recruited this year. If any of these recruits make an unexpected leap, so can Minnesota. But all of these guys are unproven and don't expect to make that huge of an impact. The team's lack of support surrounding Battle and Garcia will make them 12th in the Big Ten, which, hey, is better than 13th last year. My number 11 team in the Big Ten and taking the middle spot in Tier 4 is the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland had a disastrous season last year, coming in with pretty high expectations, and instead, their head coach Mark Tungeon was fired mid-season, and they finished 11th in the Big Ten with a 7-13 record. This year provides new expectations with prized head coach Kevin Willard taking the reins. Willard was the best coach on the market and was a great coach for Seton Hall, even though his teams often struggled in March. He's an upgrade from the reliable yet uninspiring Mark Tungeon in both recruiting and in-game coaching. So why do I still have them at 11th? For Maryland fans, let's start with the good. They have the best starting 5 in Tier 4, and their starting 5 could honestly compete fine in Tier 3. Jameer Young is an excellent transfer from Charlotte, who might have declared for the draft, but instead, Willard convinced him to go to Maryland. Donald Carey was another great transfer by Willard out of Georgetown, who can really shoot the ball and play defense. Yeah, they lost star guard Eric Ayala, but the starting rotation of Jameer Young, Donald Carey, Hakeem Hart, Donta Scott, and Julian Reese is certainly a formidable one. I expect Hart and Scott to stay around the 30-minute range and 13 and 10 efficient points per game. They can make the leap up if they not only continue using their big frames to take advantage of mismatches, but also if they shoot better than 33% and 29.1% from 3 respectively. Even with poor 3-point shooting, Hart had a great 130.5 offensive rating last year. While I don't expect them to be locked down defensively, this team should slightly improve from their 1.022 defensive efficiency as a team last year, which was good for 244th best in the nation. Julian Reese was an underrated freshman and can take another step up in his sophomore season. He's undersized at 6'9" for a center, but he's very long and is not afraid to bang down low. He flashed many times last year, most notably against Michigan, and he can also shoot threes okay, giving Maryland the ability to somewhat space the floor. Now that was a lot of praise for a team I have 11th, and admittedly, I had them at 10th for very long, but bumped them down one spot at the last second. This is because for all the praise I just gave their starting five, this might be the worst bench in all of the Big Ten. They're going to need some random guys to step up. Willard brought along Jahiri Long from Seton Hall with him, but he only played 5 games for them last year. 3-star small forward Noah Batchelor maybe can make a contribution off the bench, but I do not have that high expectation. The rest of the bench group consists of Arnaud Rivas, Pablo Dzuba, and Ian Martinez. Martinez led the group last year with 12 minutes a game, with a net rating of, unfortunately, negative 15.4, but Dzuba and Rivas average less than 5 minutes a game, and I don't project them to make much of an impact. You need more than 5 guys to play in the Big Ten, and the Terrapins, bearing unforeseen breakouts, just do not have that. They're going to lose a bunch of games late due to foul trouble and fatigue, and that made me push them back to 11th. The future, though, should be brighter in College Park. As much as I hate Penn State, disclaimer, I'm a Rutgers fan, the best team I have in Tier 4 and in 10th place is going to be Penn State. Penn State finished 12th last year in the Big Ten, with a 7-13 record, so I have them moving up 2 spots. But first, let's start with the weaknesses of this team. What's holding them back is their lack of a star player and the worst home field advantage in the Big Ten. Now let's focus on the positives. This team does not have the star power of Minnesota, starting 5 of Maryland, but what they do have is the most underrated head coach in college basketball, Micah Shrewsbury, and a team that fights for their coach to the bitter end. I watched Penn State a lot of times last year, and under Shrewsbury, there's no such thing as a free bucket. Yes, there are times they struggle to score, but they fight for every loose ball and have maximum hustle at all times. They remind me of the early Steve Peichel teams for Rutgers, where you could see the potential, but they haven't put all the pieces together. Penn State does all the intangibles right and has a deep rotation. They won't be fun to watch, but they will win games. Yes, their lack of scoring stars will hold them back to get to Tier 3, but they'll be at the top of Tier 4 and number 10 on my list. Shrewsbury had a very underrated offseason as well. He brought back Lundy and Pickett, who were their 2 leading scorers last year, averaging 13.3 and 11.9 points per game respectively. Continuity is really big in the Big Ten. The loss of John Harrar, who was a valuable tweener at center for Penn State, will hurt, but new 4-star recruit Keba Nije should fill in nicely. Nije is the second highest recruit of all time for Penn State. Yes, Nije is also a bit of a tweener for center, standing at 6'8", but watching his film, he fights hard down low and is very lanky with a good wingspan. In the future, he might even surpass Harrar's legacy. Dalian Johnson and Miles Dredd should be the other 2 starters, and both these players are solid starters that have very high motors and work hard. Dredd only averaged 6 points in 27 minutes last year, but he was very efficient and was second on the team with a 40.7% 3-point average. He was also second on the team with 116 offensive rating and 11.9 net rating. His true shooting and efficient field goal percentage were also second on the team, only behind John Harrar. With more minutes, I expect Dredd to take a huge step up this season. Dalian Johnson scored 3.7 points per game and 14 minutes per game last year, but those numbers are misleading. Johnson's end to the sophomore campaign was really strong. He had 15 points against Northwestern and played well against Purdue. I expect the speedy guard to take an offensive step up, and if he can take an even greater step up than I am expecting, Penn State may find themselves on the low end of Tier 3. Penn State has good depth too. Shrewsbury stole high 3-star recruit Jameel Brown away from Purdue. Though he's still a freshman, he can be a solid contributor off the bench. The 3-star recruit out of Lower Marion, Demetrius Lilly, can also back up Nije. Shrewsbury also has some other pieces to play with, like 3-star recruit Kanye Clary, 3-star recruit Evan Mahaffey, and transfers Michael Henn, Cameron Winter, and Andrew Funk will all have chances to make an impact off the bench. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle for Penn State, but remains to be seen, but not by Penn State fans since they literally never come to the games. I'm serious about that, by the way. They had to move the student section closer to try to boost fan attendance. But anyway, what remains to be seen if they can fit them all together. But as I said, I really trust Shrewsbury. I am really high on him. And I think he'll do just enough to have them top of Tier 4 and maybe with bright future for the following year to break into Tier 3. So that is my Tier 4 rankings. Right now I have Northwestern 14, Nebraska 13, that is Tier 5, the feeding frenzy. Tier 4 makes up of Minnesota at 12, Maryland at 11, and Penn State at 10. That is my Big Ten rankings for Tier 4. Stay tuned for next episode where I go over my Tier 3 ranking called Interesting Pieces. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Follow the TikTok CBB report for more. Subscribe, like, and comment for your thoughts. Where was I right? Where do you think I went wrong? Let me know down below. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.